all right. What's good, everybody? Welcome to my channel. You already know who I am, Emmanuel. So we're back again on another Saturday with the same discussion as last week, but with men this time. So I just want to welcome you all to my channel. If you have not seen any of my videos, please go to the different playlists that I have. I and sometimes my wife, we go on and we talk about our debt-free journey. We also talk about money management tips, and just recently, maybe like a month ago, I started interviewing different people for the purpose of me getting to know them and for others to get to know them as well. You know, people that have ministries, people who are entrepreneurs, or just having regular conversations like this about money, finances. Something that we all need in our lives, even though many of us may fear talking about it because of our actual situation that we're in. But we're gonna get started. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, I had posted I wanted somebody to come in my channel, and the question to talk about money, but specifically the question is, ladies, would you marry a man that has no plans on getting out of debt? And we had a sister who came in last week, and this time we have two men. Here we have Jonathan and Daniel on my channel. Welcome, brothers. welcome. So we're gonna flip the question, and the question is, men, would you marry a woman who has no plans of paying off debt? And as some of you that know who I am and follow me on Facebook and on social media in general, I'm very big on paying off debt. I'm very big on getting out of debt and just paying as fast as I can. You know, my wife and I, we've been on the journey for almost 2 years, and we paid off over half already of our debt. And hopefully by God's will and, his grace and mercy, we'll be debt free by the end of next year. Around this time, pretty much, but in 2021. So we're going to continue going hard. So with that being said, I am going to ask you guys, just give me a brief information about who you are, what you do, what are your talents, what do you work, or whatever. So I'm going to ask Jonathan first, if you can go ahead and let us know who you be, where you stay at. You got family, you got kids, you got a wife.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jonathan Young. I am originally from New York City, born in Harlem, raised in Brooklyn, currently residing in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am an instructional assistant for the County Public School System. I'm a youth leader at my church in Berean Baptist Church in Raleigh. I am divorced and a single father for currently in a new relationship, but right now just raising 4 kids through joint agreement with their mom. I am the primary custodial parent. I have the kids with me the majority of the week, so I'm the tutor, the homework helper. Pre-COVID, now it's like after school, as soon as we wake up, homework. Everything is homework now. And the meal, the chef, the chauffeur, all of that good stuff. Family. I got 2 boys and 2 girls. My oldest turned 13 this year, and 38 years old. And right now, I do have a bachelor's degree in business management. I got that. I graduated from Shaw University back in 2004. And on the subject of debts and stuff like that, there was a whole bunch of financial pitfalls that I wasn't taught to avoid. I wasn't educated about. So unfortunately, I did fall into the whole student loan trap, and still currently just like basically just trying to climb my way out of it, and make sure that I educate my children, make sure that I leave a better legacy for them, make sure that I teach them everything that I wish that I was taught. So that's me so far.
Amen. Thanks for that info, Jonathan, and I praise God for you, because what was going through my mind, I was like, how the heck does he do it as a single father, 4 kids? I'm like, I don't know how I would do it, but praise God that, even whatever circumstances that have happened in your life, that you are a single father right now, that you have not abandoned your children. You're still there, teaching the biblical principles and doing what you can as a father, even though it's hard and maybe sometimes you feel tired or whatnot. But God has given you strength, so
Oh, yeah.
I thank God for that, and being an example to other men that it is possible to raise kids whether you're single or not, because we're so used to seeing single mothers, which is
Absolutely.
common, but there are single fathers out there that that can get some insight on you from your part as well. So awesome, thanks for that information. And also we have Daniel Chamberlain, all right, in the house. So let us know who you be, where you at. You married, kids. What do you love to do? Let us know.
Hey guys, so hopefully y'all can hear me. Like, can you hear me over the music in the background?
Yeah, we good. We good.
Awesome. So yeah, my name is Daniel Chamberlain. I actually work for T-Mobile. I'm an instructional design manager. Oh, yeah. I'm an instructional design manager. Really work in the business unit for Metro by T-Mobile, formerly Metro PCS. I do the call center new hire training program. From a church perspective, I'm a small group leader in my church. I've been attending one community church in Plano, Texas for the last 10 or 11 years.
Okay.
Born in Missouri, but mostly raised in Texas. And
Awesome, awesome. That's what's up, brother. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the discussion. All right. So, men, will you marry a woman that has no plans of getting out of debt? Jonathan, talk to us.
Okay, so short answer is a flat out no. Um, if Okay, so the whole debt thing, anything concerning finances is never just solely about money. It's about mindset, it's about lifestyle, it's about your choices, it's about priorities. And we understand that, the Bible does teach that the love of money is the root of all evil, but that's the love of money.
Yeah.
But also teaches, even before we get to that scripture, that money answereth all things. So we do need it. We understand that, we might be radical and say, forget credit cards, let's cut our credit cards in half and just burn the whole system down, so on and so forth. And I'm with you on that. Unfortunately, that's what people look at when you're talking about buying a house or purchasing a car and stuff like that, So you can't quite burn it all down like you want to. You need to leave at least some of it up. So when you're factoring all of that stuff in, if it's a woman that just does not care, she has mounting debt, and is just like basically frivolous when it comes to swiping that credit card or that debit card, and constantly just running out to get people to co-sign and stuff like that. That's a huge red flag. Again, it goes deeper than money.
Yeah.
We're not talking about if you don't have a whole lot of money to your name, but I date you or anything like that. What you're eligible for as far as your current net worth, but we're talking about what your mindset is as far as rectifying things. Like I said in the beginning, I made a whole bunch of mistakes and signed on for a lot of stuff that I couldn't afford at the time, and got a whole bunch of stuff on my credit record that I'm currently trying to fix. At first, it was it felt like it was impossible to climb out of it, but now I have hope, and however long it's going to take, I'm willing to do that. So I need somebody that has that same mentality. If she's in debt, if she doesn't have debt, if she learned everything that she needed to learn and stuff like that, then great. But if you are, you made mistakes and stuff like that, which a lot of us have, it's not about wallowing in, and it's definitely not going to go away just because you're ignoring it.
Yeah.
You're pretending that it doesn't exist. Your credit score is still just steadily dwindling, and your good name is still constantly going down the toilet. So my name is going to be attached to your name. It's going to be like a joint thing, and our credit reports are going to be in line with one another. And that's something that, like I said, I'm divorced. That's something that that I had to deal with, and like I had to contact credit credit companies and let them know like, hey, we're not together, so can y'all split the responsibility like that?
Definitely.
So I definitely need for my future spouse to be concerned. Don't turn it into a god. Don't like stress out. Don't freak out about it. We're gonna do it with the help of the Lord and stuff like that. But at the same time, help me to be practical and be very concerned, because again, it's not just about where we are, but we got kids coming behind us who are already off to a handicap if we don't take the steps that we need to take now. So again, it's a flat out no for me.
Got it. Cool. We got back to that too. Daniel, talk to us. Would you marry a woman that has no plans on getting out of debt?
Man, I think Jonathan said a mouthful. I would say the short answer is no. And for me, it comes down to like what are the fundamental habits that are driving that decision making, right? So is this person actually responsible with their funds? However, they encountered a situation where they didn't know better and they entered into a career that doesn't actually match with the expense of their education. Like, I have family that exited college with almost $200,000, you know? By the grace of God, they were able to pay it off. But I'm just thinking, like, what if someone went to college, they got their education, or went to trade school, whatever, they got this debt, and then the career that they actually ended up in didn't fit the
Yeah.
the expense that they incurred to get it. So for me, it's, are you actually responsible with your money, and you're in some kind of a situation like that? But usually, if and I'm going off of how you described it on the Facebook page, if a person is intending to marry you with part of their goal to use your finances to take care of their bills, then what else is impacting their decision making regarding entering into a genuine relationship, right? Like, what if it's kind of similar to whether you would choose to date or marry someone based off of their prospects of what kind of father or mother that they might be to your kids.
Yeah.
Like, do you really like them? Are you really that interested? Or are you interested in what they can do for you? And for me, that's the thing that really sticks with me when it comes to that kind of situation.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. So going back to what we were talking about and what Jonathan mentioned, like, listen, let me clarify something just in case anybody thinks or maybe has a question. It is not a sin or morally wrong to marry somebody that has debt and doesn't want to pay it off. I want to throw that out there. There's nothing morally wrong. But problems can come out of that, which can end up some moral failures in there. You know what I'm saying? As I don't know the exact number right now, but I know that over 50% of marriages in America fail because of money problems. Right?
It's the number one issue.
Yeah, definitely. And that leads to other issues, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think over 70% of workers in America are living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? And as of right now, I'm part of that percent. My wife and I. You know what I'm saying? And many people who are living paycheck to paycheck, if they were to get fired right now, how are they going to survive for the next couple of months? Because we don't know when we're going to get another job. You know what I'm saying? So many things. Another thing is that I just recently read this morning, since March, 63% of people are living paycheck to paycheck since the COVID. That's crazy. And I get it, you know what I'm saying? But people are panicking all over the place and whatnot. And you know what happens when people panic? They make unwise decisions. You know what I'm saying? With anything in life, especially with if somebody parents or a relative or friend passed away, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna make decisions based on their emotions. which is the worst. And then the finances are that's the worst part. You know what I'm saying? So I personally wouldn't marry a woman that does not plan to pay off debt. You know what I'm saying? Thank God that my wife and I we both came in with $67. Actually, I'm gonna say 65, but during the process we got negative 2,000 more. So I just leave it at $67,000 in debt. You know what I'm saying? And 2 years later, well, we'll be 2 years on the 29th of being married. We already more than halfway done. Like, and of course, everybody's situation is different. For example, Jonathan, you're single and you have 4 kids. Your income may look different than mine, and you don't have that extra income from the potential wife or whatever. We have a combined income. I also have a side job. I do Uber and Lyft right after my first job on Monday through Thursday. So I have that extra income coming in, which is helping us. But that's not even the main thing that's really helping us. Yes, the income, the increase is helping us, but the main thing is our mindset, as you mentioned, Jonathan. Our mindset, our behavior. As Dave Ramsey said that 80% of personal finance is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. You can make 100K and still be broke.
Yeah.
Why? Because we were living above our means.
Right.
We think that, oh, okay, I got paid or I got a raise, so more money, I can spend more money. That's not how it works, guys. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my wife says hi. She just joined. um, yeah. So we think that the more money we get, the more money we spend. When it shouldn't be like that. That's why most of us are broke. We and make poor decisions. You know what I'm saying? So like we need to be on the same page. And I know for some people, finances are not a priority, especially I'm paying off debt. You know what I'm saying? But for me, like I noticed, like I'm 34 years old. I mean, I'm younger than Jonathan, but still, we're still in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
And my wife is 8 years younger than me, and I'm like, damn, like we don't have any kids. We don't really travel much, so let's sacrifice now, so we can actually do the things that we want later on. You know what I'm saying? And for us, and I always say this, we personally don't have kids because of that. Now, again, I want to clarify for others: there's nothing wrong to have kids if you have debt. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. If you want to have kids, then go ahead. Just have a plan, pretty much. A budget, all that kind of stuff. But we personally want to wait, until we're debt free, before we have kids, and God blesses us that way, So for us, it's like we had to be on the same page, and and you guys can only imagine. Well, not you, but for the women can only imagine. Like, man, home every day or coming after work from Monday to Thursday, only sees her husband in the morning, and don't see him until the nighttime because of the sacrifice that he's making. But thank God for my wife that she agreed on that schedule, and she knows it's just a moment, a temporary time that we're gonna do this, So with this whole pandemic, let me ask you guys, with this whole pandemic that's happening still, and 63% of people since March are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, what comes to your mind with that, Jonathan? I'll ask Jonathan first.
Honestly, and as much as it pains to admit, I'm in that same boat, and I mean it's a painful reality. It's a painful thought. At one point, back when I was married and we were living paycheck to paycheck back then, it was just kind of like such as life, just not gonna get any better than this, might as well just wait for that next paycheck and hope the lights don't get cut off, hope the car don't get snatched off the street and stuff like that. But then at a certain point you just start feeling like, what, I'm tired of this, tired of being a mouse on the wheel and stuff like that. And then once you get tired of it, then you realize you gotta go to the source.
Yeah.
You really can't look no further. You can go blame the white man. You can go blame this. Go blame your parents and for not teaching you stuff like that. But then at the end of the day, it's like you got to start looking inward. And I had to look at myself, and I'm still looking at myself. I'm still like evaluating. I'm still like kicking myself as far as my habits and being shocked that a certain amount is going to come out, during the course of the month. And that, I probably should have held off on going to Chick-fil-A right here. I probably should have held off on ordering something from Amazon, on this day. What I'm saying? Like it's a painful reminder, like I said, but then, at the same time, it's like there's hope. It really just requires a shift in how you look at it. If you look at it as hopeless, then that's how you're going to behave. That's how you're going to continue to go through life, and then you're never really going to try to climb out of it and try to go past being going from paycheck to paycheck. I believe that as people of God first, and then as African Americans, there's like just so much untapped potential, within all of us, and then like so many circumstances that are working against us, but then at the same time it's like those aren't excuses, because Bible tells us that we're overcomers, that all things work together for our good, and that we're more than conquerors and stuff like that. And as African Americans, we are one of the most resilient groups of people on the planet. We've overcome so much. So there's been a lot that's been hidden from us and taken away from us, and yet there's still people among us who are millionaires and business owners and property owners and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of like, okay, just the first thing you have to admit is that you're the problem. You're living paycheck to paycheck. And again, everybody's situation is different. It may be people who have legitimate gripes with their parents, who like set them up badly. I know plenty of people who are done dirty by their parents. Taking their checks and then not realizing it and stuff like that. I totally get that. So I don't want to downplay any of that. But even still, it's a choice that you got to make. It's one thing to point out the bad news. It's one thing to point out how terrible and how bleak everything looks. But then it's another thing to just look at it, stare it in his face, and be like, "Look, God didn't put me on this earth to be a bum. God didn't put me on this earth to like just sit up here and cry about everything, and to just look around and dire straits. He said, I came that you might have life and have life more abundantly." So that doesn't promise that I'm not a prosperity preacher. I'm gonna have and mansions and stuff like that. But abundant life should also translate to something a little bit better than minimum wage and having to wait till the next paycheck and being just like completely flat broke until I get paid again. At least if I do have to have those circumstances again of getting minimum wage or low pay, then God will show me how to manage it better. Maybe God will teach me how to save and, like you said, live beneath our means. And I love what Daniel said earlier about why he wouldn't marry somebody, because like you're talking about like somebody that could potentially be a gold digger or something like that, and if you come over here trying to dig for gold.
Yo, I did not say that. I did not say that.
I'm just a part, not all. That's a part of what I gather from you. Like,
No. I mean, I have to clarify when it's my turn,
but what I'm saying is like it'll teach you. If you know that what your financial situation is, then you should, if you get tired of it, you get tired of getting beat up by bill collectors and not being able to go where you want, not being able to buy your kids what you want to buy them and stuff like that, then it should teach you something. It should teach you, if you are single, what to avoid when it comes down. Pay attention to them ladies' Facebook posts and what they talking about and stuff like that. It should teach you some things. So living paycheck to paycheck is bad news, but that's not the end. That's not the end of the story. It's a comma and not a period.
Exactly. What do you got to say, Daniel? Since I mentioned that 53%
Well, All right, so going back to that
I knew
gold
to put
digger
the word
comment.
in.
No, I'm not accusing anyone of being a gold digger. I'm just like acknowledging the fact. And from a men's perspective, it might look a little bit differently. But when you are facing like physical headwinds in your life, whether it's economic or whether it's an issue of having to raise a child by yourself, those things are tensions and pressures that play a factor into your decision making. That may push your decision making in one direction or the other direction. And you have to be aware of those things. And you may not be able to control always, like whether or not you're going to be raising a child on your own. And that's true. But you can control whether or not you're within reason. I should say within reason. There, you can control some of whether or not finances will be a pressure when it comes to your dating selection or marriage selection. Like what other issue or tension is your finances hiding or masking that you normally would have paid attention to in your dating relationship? Like, is there a flag? You know, um, I'm not saying that people are gold diggers, but we all have things that, like physical circumstances that drive that
Yeah.
impact our decision making. But our goal is to learn how to manage our lives well so that it doesn't push our decision making to keep us from making a wise decision, right? Um, I feel for like everyone who's currently going through this situation, like my dad. Like he was laid off in January of this
Oh,
year,
wow. That sucks.
and he just now got a job offer. Like just now, like, so 11 months. Like that kind of stuff is rough. And you know what? I understand if someone says, I currently don't have a plan for addressing my debt
Mhm.
because I'm going through this layoff. And we all understand that black people, on average, experience higher levels of unemployment as well as longer
Mhm.
bouts of unemployment than whites and other ethnic or racial groups do in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's a factor. Like we should talk about those things. Is that a situation that's affecting you right now? Um, and honestly, like I have this conversation with my mom. We were just talking about like finances,
Mhm.
and one of the things that I have to do is like you continually have to look at your current financial outlook. Like, what does the next 3 months look like? What do the next 6 months look like? And I had to come to a conclusion like, I'm going to have to stop doing some of the things that I had been doing. We're going to have to tighten our belt to ensure that
Mhm.
we have more money available in case of an emergency. By God's grace, I have a pretty good job so that I can make those decisions, and so that I could over time pay down most of my debt.
Mhm.
But it's still the same thing that we need to be thinking about and looking for ways to accomplish, no matter what level we're at. Otherwise, if we're not looking and we're not checking, if we're saying, well, I don't make anything anyway, and it's not going to hurt or whatever. Um, if I make this collection or not, be careful because when you do get in a situation where you feel like you should be making progress, those are the kinds of things that can turn around and hold you back from moving forward um, like you want to. Too.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. Definitely. That's what's up. That's what's up. And I'm sorry that sucks that your father had to, go through that layoff, but now, hopefully, feels that relief now and get back to normal and whatnot. It may take some time to, do some stuff that he probably had planned to do or whatnot, but at least he's back on track now, So um, I want to talk about the same topic of marrying a woman, like just thinking about the future. And you, Jonathan, you have kids, right? I don't have kids yet, so I don't know how often you were able to go on vacation or take your kids out to places when you were married and now as a single father, But I think about that for me, like man, like do you know that if we have the mindset, all debt is normal, but we're gonna continue going out and having vacation. People still go out no matter what, but then they're putting themselves more in danger and more in a hole. You know what I'm saying? Or they just have to save for like 6 months instead of saving for like 1 or 2 months because they have the money right away. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think about that for my future, my wife, and my future kids. Like, our first trip that we want to take to together after we become debt free is we want to go to Santorini, Greece. And that ain't no cheap a cheap thing. That's like 4 to 5K.
Wait, where is it?
Santorini in Greece.
Where's that?
In Greece.
Oh, in Greece? Are you sure? Because
Yeah, my best
Greece
friend.
is
Mhm.
so okay. So I'm kind of a travel nut, but I was told that Greece, because they're under austerity measures, that it's
Mhm.
actually pretty cheap to actually go there to visit,
Yeah, it's
especially if you're using cash.
yeah. It's possible. The reason why I say that because I was looking at prices to go over there, and they were like 4K or whatever. But regardless if it's 4K or 2K, most people can't spend that money right away. You know what I'm saying?
So are you flying United Arab Emirates or something?
Say it again?
Are you flying United Arab Emirates? Is that what you're flying? Or UAE?
I don't understand. I didn't get the question.
He's asking
Are
what
you
airline
flying?
you guys want to choose.
Yeah, are you flying United Arab Emirates? Like really expensive flight? Because I'm like $4,000. Like
Well, I mean,
you doing
it
that?
depends. I mean, it depends. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I was recently looking online, just different resorts in Santorini, and I was looking at the prices, and they were pretty high. At least high.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I don't fly on luxury. I don't stay in luxury when I travel. Like
That's
that's
fine.
probably that's
It's
probably
different.
something I'd have to negotiate with a spouse because I don't stay in a motel in a hot place. You
But
know,
all right. I
that's just
mean,
me.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Everybody is different, and there's nothing wrong if you want to stay in a luxury hotel or where you want to stay at. There's nothing wrong with being bougie. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're being bougie on a budget.
That's fact. Yeah, but that's just a single guy talking, right? If you got a wife, she's like, nah, this has to be nice. It
Of
has to be
course,
expensive. So I get that. I'm not judging
of
that
course.
at all.
Even with that, right now, as me and my wife, we will not go to Santorini. We would not pay to go on a luxury hotel because we can't afford it. And if we were to go right now, that's gonna delay us from paying off debt or when we want to be debt free. You know what I'm saying? So the point is that when we're debt free, for us, it's gonna be like almost pocket change to go to a luxury hotel. You know what I'm saying? And I say this more on a personal level because you guys don't know how much we make a month, so we can afford it like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Based on our income and my side hustle that I bring every month. You know what I'm saying? So it's different for everybody, of course. But that's like the point that I was trying to make is that I want to be able to enjoy life at the same time. I don't want to be going out and thinking, man, I have to pay this bill, or I can't spend too much money because I gotta owe this person and all that person. Like, wow, what would life be to be, your mind at peace and not have to worry about you gotta pay this card, you gotta pay this, student loan, this and that. So I gotta be careful. Like, I don't want to live like that. You know what I'm saying? And even besides that, I want to be able to help people out. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to help some family members or friends or people in the church that is in need. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to do that when you have so much debt. I'm not saying you can never help anybody in need when you have debt, but it's just different when you have no debt. You know what I'm saying? You can actually make a difference and impact the receiver. You know what I'm saying? So just thinking about the woman. Well, I'm married, but let's just say I wasn't thinking about the woman. Like, man, Like, what do you want for the future? You know what I'm saying? Do you really want to stay in debt? We're programmed in our mind in America to think that debt is normal, and it has become normal, unfortunately, because everything's off on credit and this and that. But no, listen, you can be there. I know my personal financial coach. He's debt free besides the mortgage. His daughter, at 17 years old, just purchased her first car in cash for $10,000. That's what I'm talking about, financial literacy. You start them at young. You know what I'm saying? So that is a mindset that we have to have, especially when we're dating and we're getting to know somebody and have that money conversation. Where is your mindset? Where are you at with your money? What's your view about this? What's your view about that? You know what I'm saying? What do you have to say, Jonathan?
I agree, and I commend you and your wife for. You said you guys have been. It's going to be 2 years.
Being married,
And
and
yeah, you guys are still like y'all are in the honeymoon phase, and that's great that you guys are looking at it like that, or that you came into the relationship,
mhm.
um, on the same page about that stuff. I think it's super important. Um, to add to what you were saying about what Americans have been conditioned to, as far as like being quote unquote comfortable in debt, which it sounds so funny saying that
Yeah.
out loud. But I think another thing that we've been conditioned to is just not being able to delay our gratification. Whatever we want, we gotta have it now. You
Microwave.
wanna, like you said, you and your wife, y'all want to go to Greece. Somebody just thinking on a lower level will be like, look, we need to take this trip now while we're young. You
Hmm.
telling you, people telling yourselves what you deserve, and I don't want to like make this a strictly a gender thing, but you might come across women that will say things like, this is what I deserve, this is a certain lifestyle that I'm trying to maintain, and so on and so forth. Like I said, that's not just a woman thing.
Yeah.
That's a across the
Hmm.
board. We're talking about like potential mates and stuff like that, and future spouses and whatnot. Yeah, it's an issue if like you just feel like you deserve X, Y, and Z. You feel like you deserve this certain type of car. So in your mind, like you're skipping past that $800 um, you know, 1999 Honda Civic because you feel like you deserve the 2020
Yeah.
Accord and whatnot. Now you may deserve it, but what you deserve and what you can afford and what is beneficial for you to have, those are entirely different things.
Exactly. Two different things.
We can't go off of. I mean, at the end of the day, what we deserve hellfire and brimstone. We're all sinners,
Real.
saved by grace. That's what we deserve. If we want to talk about what we actually deserve,
Hmm.
what you have a right to, is what I prefer to say. We have a right. Again, we do have a right to abundant life and stuff like that as children of God and all that good stuff. But again, we you got to learn how to put your stuff off.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you can afford one thing, I don't ever get, and I'm not judging anybody who does this, is parents who buy their kids Jordans. My opinion is like, listen, Air Jordans are for feet that have stopped growing. That personal take on it is like, you're not growing anymore, so you can, and you have your own job, you can get Air Jordans. I worked in an elementary school, and I used to see kids in first grade. They would wear the Jordans to school, and then when it's time to go outside for recess, you see them going to their cubby to change their shoes. And I'm like, why are you changing your shoes? Or my mama said I can't play in my Jordans.
Oh, wow. Because they know they spent all that money.
Right, right. Like I just that just boggles my mind. Like again, kids are gonna get dirty
Of
and they're
course.
gonna flip upside down, they're gonna swing and they're gonna tear up them shoes, which
Hmm.
is why
Yeah.
again, I'm not judging you. If you can afford it, more power to you. That's what you want to do. But everyone whose last name is Young Well, if you seen him walking around with Jordans, it is safe to assume that daddy didn't get those. It was a generous godparent or some other benefactor. But we just really have a bad habit of I want this and I gotta have this now. I'm hungry, but and I got something in the freezer and I got something in the refrigerator, but I gotta have fast food. I gotta go to Popeyes. You know,
Yeah,
I'm telling on myself right now. I'm not when I say some people, I am some people. We really have to learn how to just say, okay, well, look, I got the cash on hand for this right now, or I got the credit card balance to be able to go get this right now, but do I need it?
yeah,
And how is it going to affect me in the long run? And can I wait? Can I put this off? Will my kids survive if I get them Garanimals and get them Asics from Walmart and instead of getting them the Jordans that they might be asking for? Will they be okay if
yeah,
I know people don't like generic brands and stuff like that, but I don't either. But again, we're talking about the delaying the gratification. What can we hold off on and still survive and still be okay? And I grew up being teased with having all brand and non-name brand pay less shoes and stuff like that. So I know the pressure that kids are facing. I totally get it. But again, at the same time, what's more important
okay.
is us being able to set you up with a retirement fund before you're even old enough to have your own credit card,
Mm-hmm.
or to go ahead and these pair of jeans just so that you won't get clowned for having Wranglers or something like that.
Right.
It really boils down to changing mindset. I want this now. I'm looking at other people. I'm watching people on Facebook, with dangling their keys and stuff like that. Hashtag relationship goals, hashtag all of this other stuff. But, I'm just not there yet, and I need to be okay with it. And I need to not sit up there and try to race and try to compete and try to keep up. Yeah, I can't beat Daniel. I can't beat Daniel. Daniel's Daniel. I'll catch Daniel.
Oh man, I was just dangling the keys to my Mercury Cougar from 1995, bro. I'm just saying, you know.
Listen, yo, it's crazy because, oh man, living that microwave mentality that we have.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is crazy. It's sad, man. Like, and this is how people are guilty. Go ahead, Daniel. What are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I pretty much agree with what you're saying. Just from a money management perspective, my goals, like I think of things, and I've always had this opinion of in terms of profitability. So
Mhm.
what is my net profit? Like if I control my expenses, then do I need a six-figure job if my net profit's still going to be $30,000 a year
Mhm.
or $20,000 a year? Like those are the kind of things we have to weigh. I would also say like if you decide that like hey, I'm at a point in my life where I can afford a little $500 trip somewhere, right? Like during the year, like I
Mhm.
can go to like Los Angeles for the weekend, stay at a motel, but I can at least stay in Los Angeles for the whole week, right?
You have the
Um,
money. You
yeah,
got
but at the same time, like I made decisions about how I'm going to live, what I'm going to spend my money on, that will allow me to do that down the road. Um, you do have to be intentional about doing those things. And
Mhm.
the challenge in today's society, and this is kind of, I don't know if you guys have heard of like Dave Ramsey's
Yeah. My wife
financial
and I,
peace
we
journey.
follow his stuff. Mhm.
Yeah, so I went to one of his classes. I've always like had a concern about money because one, I grew up without it, um, you know. But at the same time, Dave Ramsey's class helped me to put into practice and to organization the things
Yeah.
that I was trying to do in saving my money.
Mhm.
And the reality with society is a lot of business, a lot of things are based on impulse buying. The one-click purchase that you see on Amazon or any of your other shopping apps, like Amazon's the one I use the most. So, those things are built to get you to spend money easily, right? You don't have to remember anything. Once you have your card paid after the first payment, all you do is push a button, and boom, there goes some money out of your account.
Yeah.
You have to, and I think one of the cool things about Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace is they institute practice controls that divorce you from that experience. And that's something that I think we all sometimes need to practice. Like if you practice not doing it, then you'll get in the habit of asking yourself, "Oh, do I really need it right now?" You know,
Yeah.
sometimes we're just hungry for stuff, and they know it. They know what your triggers are, and now Androids and Apples serve us ads based off of your interests. They have your shopper profile already. They're already going to serve that stuff up to entice you to spend money. Well, that's what I think that's one of the beauties of Dave Ramsey's disconnect.
Yeah.
It's changing how you use your money.
Exactly.
It's causing you to ask yourself those hard questions. Do I really, really need it? Like I know it's a need, but do I need it right now? Or am I just experiencing a self need that they want you to actually spend money? You know,
Yeah.
so
Definitely. Definitely.
it's kind of like my piece on that.
You good. You're good. And and I love what you said. Oh, I spent this amount of money, but I stayed in a motel, whatever. Listen, I don't care where you stay at. If you budget it and you have the money to do that, why not? You know what I'm saying? Whether you spend 500 or 2,000 on a luxury hotel, if you had the money and you budget it, you're good. Doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? And I want to go back to the whole microwave mentality, delayed gratification, because I mean, I fall into that sometimes. I get excited about things. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I like to buy little things, and I think I get it from my mom, because she's like, oh, the same way, and then she would buy me the little things, and I just caught up to it, whatever. But budgeting has changed my life ever since I got married. Like we had a plan, and I never budgeted until I got married. I never had financial literacy from my parents. But it literally changed my life, because now I know where my money is going. Every month I sit down and I budget everything through the Every Dollar app that I have, and I show my wife and this and that. And we budget what we're gonna be spending. Now, I also want to mention to my viewers that I don't have it all together. Just because I've been budgeting for 2 years, just because I've been paying off so much debt in 2 years, and we've been doing so great, doesn't mean that I over budget on something like food. Because I do like going out to eat, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't even in the budget, but it's just a reality. However, my relationship with money has changed and has been so good, because now money is not controlling me. I'm controlling my money. I'm telling it where to go. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes there is a moment where I may buy something and I'm like, shoot, I should not have gotten that. Even if it was even if it wasn't expensive, I'm like, damn, that was dumb. I shouldn't have gotten that. Why? You know what I'm saying? But listen, if you guys get a chance after this video or whatever we're done later on, my wife and I made a video 2 weeks ago of us talking about paying off our car. And we have two cars. We financed a car last April at $14K around there. And if we made minimum payments, it would take us 4.5 years to pay it off. Right? But we paid it off in 1 year and 7 months. Like, who does that? You know what I'm saying?
Smart people do, man. Smart people do. Like that's genius. You know what? Well, when I first bought my first car, that was a struggle for me. Like I was like, well, should I put my money into this car or not? But you know what? If you do and you make the sacrifice, it's yours and you don't have to pay for it in the future, and you pay less interest. Like
Yeah,
That's deep.
exactly. And not only that,
Something that I would encourage
Mhm.
couples to consider as well is it again, if you're just starting off, it's not a race, it's
Mhm.
a marathon, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, it's a journey, and you don't have anybody to try to keep up with but yourselves. So something that I wish I would have thought about as a newlywed back then was like, okay, why even worry about getting something that we're going to have a note for? You know, let's try to put enough money together and get something that we can it'll be reliable. It won't be like brand new, it'll be used obviously, but it'll be something that's reliable, you know, off the lot, pay cash, and
Mhm.
then it's ours, it's in our
Yeah,
name,
exactly.
and then drive that until the wheels fall off, and then trade it, and then keep that whole process going. And then if you guys are like working together and working towards that, then each time you do a trade in, it can be something better. It could be a newer model or something like that. Like work your way up to it. Like why do you as a newlywed couple have to start off with the 2020 model or the
Mm.
2021? Why do you have to start off with the Escalade?
Yeah.
And Emmanuel, in your instance, you guys don't have kids, so why would you go get a Durango or a 7 passenger vehicle or something like that? Who are you transporting? It's you, your wife, and your Uber and your Lyft passengers. They can fit in the back seat comfortably, in an Acura, or something smaller like that. So again, like just look at it as okay, we're starting off here, and I recommend in dating, highly recommend in dating, to have those conversations up front.
Mhm.
Maybe not like the first date or so, but definitely I would say right around before the time you start meeting each other's parents and stuff like that. Definitely before you head down the aisle, have these conversations. Like, okay, so what's your thought process on this? How do you feel about us just starting off? How do you feel about, like, the car that I picked you up in? It's a dusty looking little Civic, but I mean, it ran. We can talk without the air is working good, the radio works just fine and stuff like that. I just got an oil change and whatnot. So how do you feel? Are you embarrassed about riding around in this, or are you okay?
Yeah.
And look, if she's not embarrassed about riding around in that, then that's a good sign.
Exactly. Exactly.
A good sign. Yeah, man.
Because in reality, I mean, we already know that once you take that car out of that lot, that thing starts to depreciate.
Yeah,
And then when you have a car note, over time, you're going to be paying more for what that car is worth.
yeah,
So you're like throwing away a lot of money,
especially with minimum payments. Yeah,
special minimum payment. You know what I'm saying? So, and you know what? Before we end, before we talk about this last thing, mark my words, and I'm only saying this not to brag. I'm saying this so my fans, or whatever you want to call them, they can see that it is possible, and that I'm only gonna hold myself accountable, because I'm gonna look back on this video, and you guys too. Mark my words, God willing, no emergency happen in the next 5 months. In 5 months, around there, our next car will be paid off, and we have like 12K left on that car.
nice.
Give me 5 months, and I'm gonna be
Amen. There's nothing wrong with saying that at all.
right. Cool, cool.
Nothing wrong with that at
Mark
all,
my
bro.
words, 5 more months, 5 to 6 months around there. So, all right, the last part. As men, being the sole provider of the household, and the protector of the home for your kids and your wife and whatnot. Even though, if your wife make more than you, because my wife makes more than me, you know what I'm saying? But our money is our money. It's not her money and then my money. No, it's together. You know what I'm saying? So as men, how important for you is to be that sole provider? Because the reason why I ask is because, listen, before Daniel, you came on, me and Jonathan were talking offline, well, here, but not live. And I was talking about how I want to go to seminary and whatnot. But the thing is that I don't want to keep taking more loans. You know what I'm saying? So it just makes no sense for me to take more loans and then me as a provider in the household, as a man and a husband, struggle to pay for other things because I got our family more into debt. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that some people say, "Oh, but it's good debt because then it'll work out later on." And da, da, da. You know, for some people it does, for some people it doesn't. But me personally, I don't want none of that debt. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a goal, and if we came this far in just 2 years, it's possible.
Mhm.
It's possible. So, what do you have to say, Jonathan? Go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead, Daniel.
So it's how important is it for the man to be the breadwinner, or how
Yeah,
important?
how important that is for you to be the breadwinner. Even if your wife makes less money,
No,
I mean more money than you, but you're still that provider. You still, you know.
like, well, okay. So I would just be careful with that whole situation, because here's the reality: your wife might be the better money manager than of the two,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it doesn't mean that you should, like, okay, so she needs to give you the purse strings so you can make all the decisions. Like, that's a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one of the things that we teach at our church is the concept of mutual submission, right? We
Yeah.
know that there's the biblical order that we teach with regard to the husband and the wife relationship. But we also need to keep in mind that while men are given headship, at the same time, the Bible calls men to sacrifice for their wives, right? Just like Christ loved the church. He gave his life for it. And so there's this mutual type of relationship going on where you work together to make decisions together with regard to the future of your family. And so the other part of it is, in today's current society, it may not be possible that you make more money than your wife.
Yeah.
Like, she might have a skill that gets her the six figures. You know, I have a friend who's a wife. She's a VP at Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm.
They get Super Bowl tickets every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's a pretty good job,
Yeah.
but her job, like, she's paid, man. Like, what can you do about that? You can't go, well, you know, the Bible says you need to go down and become a senior manager as opposed to a VP. No. Like, what husband would go, hold up, we're going to Paris every year? No, no, you're going to work this out. Cool. Um, so I would say, as one flesh, work it out together. Like, if your wife is the better money manager, or you are the better money manager, like, that person is the one that should be calling the shots, you know, or you should be working together to make the best decision. You
Okay.
know, just I wouldn't say like this is prescriptive that you have to get a lower paying job, or a job that doesn't utilize the best of your skills,
Exactly.
um, just so that you can satisfy. Like, I don't see the biblical imperative for a woman to neglect generally. Like, Solomon married the queen of Ethiopia, and she was richer than he was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like I wouldn't get hung up on that.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, and it's a pride thing. That's what it is. But back when I was young, in my early 20s, I used to struggle with that because almost all my exes, they made more money than me. You know, and you know, it sucks because listen, then this is an identity issue because you know I don't have a college degree yet. I only have some college. I never liked school growing up. I hated it. I just felt so inadequate. I never did good. I failed I like 3 times my whole life. In I failed first grade, seventh grade twice. Like it was just bad. But a lot of it has to do with self-esteem issues. I have hearing problems, which even made it worse for me. Like I just felt like I was academically dumb, and I hate math. I don't like math for real, unless I get a check, unless I get money, you know. But but the point I'm making is that I used to struggle a lot with that. All my friends are in college, you know, and some of them are younger than me. They got degrees, they got this, and I'm here struggling But I had to learn, like, man, that's not what my identity is. You know what I'm saying? And my wife, she has a bachelor in psychology. And now she's a teacher, and she makes more money than me. But that doesn't even phase me at all anymore because I realized that number one, my identity is not how much I make. You know what I'm saying? And number two, we're in this together. Her money is my money as well. You know what I'm saying? We are doing this together. So what I want to say before I get to you, Jonathan, is that this is not even about controlling one behaviors when it comes to money. Oh, you can't spend money on this, or this. It's not even about permission. It's about working together and seeing the goal and the benefit in the long run. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Jonathan. Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
What you just
No,
said
I was
was
just gonna say I absolutely agree with you, man. And keep in mind, in the future, as a couple, you both are going to go into debt for things that you want in the
Yeah.
future, like you will. So
Man,
that
amen. Go ahead, Jonathan. Finish off with that last. What are you going to say?
I was gonna say that what you just got finished saying was so on point. I I got married young. We were 22 when I got married, so I didn't really have a strong sense of my identity and who I was and what type of man I was, and I was basing it off of how well I was performing or how poorly I was performing as a husband and what I understood my husbandly duties to be, which the top one being to be the breadwinner and
Mhm.
to be the main earner and stuff like that. So I want to say to guys like myself and the guys like Emmanuel, that your manhood, your worth, your value has nothing to do with what's in your bank account. I know
Mhm.
we just got finished saying that, like, it ties into it, behaviors and stuff like that. But, you know, we just have to, as men, do away with that mentality that if we don't make a certain amount, if we don't do this, if we don't do that for, our household or for ourselves
Mhm.
or whatever the case is, that you're not a man, you're not man enough, you're not this, you're not that. Like, first of all, um, Adam was a man before he picked up a rake and a hoe and started working in the Garden of Eden. Eve was a woman from the time that God breathed the breath of life into her nostrils.
Mhm.
Okay, so God is the one that defined our gender roles and our our duties and stuff like that. So God, I'm a man because God says I'm a man, because I am who God says I am. I am what God made me out to be, regardless of how much my partner, my spouse is making or not making.
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of pressure that I put on myself, and a lot of trauma coming out of that relationship because of the things that were said. Because I don't like math either, and I was a business major, but I never liked the finance side. I never liked accounting or any part of the business degree that had to do with
Yeah.
math, finance, and all that other stuff. My brain, I was like, if I can just get a B or a C or something like that and get out of this class, I'm good. I like to think of the safe.
oh my god.
Same way.
No, no. I agree with you, man. I'm just thinking like economics. I totally agree with you on
I, I,
that.
I just
Woo,
I
some
checked
rough stuff.
I mentally checked out of that stuff, like, so when it came down to when it came down to all of that stuff, the jobs, the higher paying jobs that I could get with my degree, like the CPAs and stuff like that, I was like, I'm not going to go after that because I already know, like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just not how I'm wired, and I felt bad. Like I said, I felt a lot of pressure
Mhm.
coming, or thinking like that. Like, I prefer to work with kids. I prefer to do a job to where, like, I get to be a mentor, and I get to help out people and stuff like that, and not like I tell people all the time, like, people say, because I work in education, you should
Mhm.
get your license, you should get your teaching license, stuff like that, and I'm like, well, that means that I got to be stuck in the classroom for 8 hours, and I got to be grading papers on my lunch break, and setting up conferences on, like, I don't, I don't want to do all of that, like
Mhm.
that. I mean, I'm just wired a different way. And I always struggle with how to monetize my passions and my desires and stuff like that. And I struggle with looking at, like, okay, exactly how much what type of job should I go apply for, and what type of salary should I be looking for and stuff like that. So, but again, like, just as a man, know that your worth isn't attached to any of that stuff. And you were asking, like, how do you take your role as a sole provider. I would want to take, like, the soul out of it, because if we're together, my wife is my helpmeet. Yes, by scripturally order, I'm the head of the household. I'm the leader, and I have to make the final decisions and stuff like that. But that doesn't demean my wife. That doesn't say anything about how smart she is. Like Daniel was saying, look, she may be better with finances. My girlfriend now, she's like brilliant when it comes to details and writing things down and stuff like that. And I'm looking at the notes that she's taking. Like I got like one little abbreviated line on a sheet of paper. She has like full notebooks.
That's not right.
That's why you're gonna be in charge of this. And I have no problem with that. I don't feel like that takes away from me and my leadership and my manhood to say, look, you're better than this in a certain area. You make more money. Again, if she's walking in what she's supposed to be doing, like, again, like what Daniel was saying, like, what if, or your wife, if your wife is called to teach, why shouldn't she teach? Why should she have to step down to make you feel good about you making minimum wage? And then the opposite, like, if you're a janitor or custodian, what if that is your calling in life? Everybody is not called to be a CEO. Everybody's not called to be an entrepreneur. Everybody is not called to be a EVP or something like that. It might be your lot in life to be a custodian, and then you just be really smart with the money that you make and put it away and stuff like that. And then as you go to work, you just steadily touching lives. You work in a school, picking up trash and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you think about it, if you go back to your memory of school, it's those people, like the cafeteria people and the janitors and stuff like that really stuck out to you. On par with the teachers. If you think about it, like, I remember Mr. Such and Such, or lunch lady Agatha, who always, she gave me extra cream corn and stuff like that, and I didn't have money to pay for my lunch. I mean, it may just be, this is where God put you, and if you make less money than your spouse, but one is where God put you, you're happy, you're content, you guys are working together. That's really all that matters. Like, we need to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves, especially as men, to say, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I understand where that mindset comes from. And to a certain extent, it's not always a bad thing, but it can become really toxic. And then it can also become an idol, without us even realizing it. Like, I have to do this, I got to do that. Why are you saying that? Did God say that? Is that what God told you? No, this is what you're telling yourself. And now you're hurting everybody else in the household because they're not getting to see you. You're not being emotionally present, because you just created this thing, this mindset that you have to do everything. Your wife is making 50 grand a year or more. So now you feel like you got to go you got to drive everybody for Uber and Lyft. Like, you just got to work out just to be able to say, I make more than she does, and now I'm good because I'm the man of the house. So on and so forth. You still the man of the house, and this is another reason why it's important to choose the right partner that will complement that and still treat you as the man of the house, and still respect you, and not look at you as if to say, like, hey, look, I know you the man, but I'm making like 100 grand a year. I'm making 75 grand a year. So, like, you don't have a dog in the fight. You don't have a say in this. Look, that's your mindset. Please let me know while we're dating. Let me know that while we're dating. After while we're dating, so I'll know to keep it moving. Because if that's your mindset, then that means that you're not the one for me. If you feel like because you make more than me, that you know, like you can disrespect me, you can talk to me any kind of way and stuff like that, and you still won't submit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it provided that I'm giving you something to submit to, you know, because there's the other side to it. Men like to say, you know, I want my wife to submit, but you got to give them something to submit to. So if I am doing that, I'm living up to my part, and you still don't want to fall in line just because you know you got an extra zero on top of mine, then it's not gonna work.
Word. That's what's up. Damn, you just took over my channel, bro. That was what's up, man. A lot of nuggets and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I can take a lot of those that from experience of you. So and I want to piggyback real quick. I just thank God for my wife, because she, and this is just her because of personality. She's not a bougie type person and like expensive things, which is nothing wrong if she did like expensive things. You know what I'm saying? Because if I can afford to get something expensive and that she wants, why not? You know what I'm saying? But she's just not that type of person. She's not a gold digger, right, Daniel?
Man, y'all never gonna let me live that down. Hey, all y'all YouTube, I did not say that. I just want to say that. Let's make sure. I'm gonna put a sign on my chest. I did not say that.
But yeah, I really thank her for who she is as a person and in Christ and whatnot, because she is not that type of person. She is not that type of these women like city girls and whatever that teaches these young girls, if that guy driving a Honda, like, he ain't worth it. He ain't making 100 G's, like, he ain't worth it. I'm like, nah, man, that's not Christ-like at all. And unfortunately, there are some Christian women that kind of think like that too, but that's another day, another conversation for another day. So, but we're going to end it here. If Daniel, you want to say any last words, and then Jonathan real quick, and then we'll close it.
No, man, it's a good conversation, Gotta plan well, gotta look not look to the future, but look at what things really cost in your life, and you gotta work together to make wise decisions. I think that's what we're talking about. I think we were speaking about it.
That's awesome. And Jonathan, any last words?
No, just I think this has been great. I like what both you guys have had to say, and it was a reinforcement to the things that I've been learning over the past few years. You guys, Daniel, you being a single man, and Emmanuel, you being a newlywed. I'm proud to see that you guys have the mindset that you have now. Instead of having to learn stuff the hard way like some of us did. And I just want to encourage you guys to just keep doing what you're doing. You Emmanuel and your wife, y'all keep working together. Y'all are on the right track. And it's gonna go beyond you paying off that car. You guys are really on the right track, and whatever you decide to do, I know you guys are going to be successful, and then Daniel, your future wife is going to be in for a treat, man. She's going to be in for a treat. You talking about taking trips to Los Angeles and stuff like that. I think provided you with the right one, I think she's going to be okay with staying in the motel. I don't think y'all going to be spending that much time in the motel anyway if you're in Los Angeles. But I'm really proud of you guys. This has been a really, really good conversation. So I'm glad that I was invited.
Amen.
Absolutely. By the way, if you ever roll with me on a trip, we're not staying just in Los Angeles. Like, man, we be down in San Diego. Bring your passport, because we be down in Mexico too, because that's also close.
Okay.
So, like, I travel when I travel. I travel and I travel. You know what I'm saying?
You got it. That's what's up. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming in. It was definitely a great discussion. I'm gonna have to listen to this all over again because it was really good. A lot of wisdom from both of you guys, especially Jonathan. With the experience of being married before and having kids and whatnot, I can take some of that experience and learn from it as well. And then for those that have been watching, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I know my wife tuned in, my mother-in-law, and then my brother JP as well. So we're already getting close to the end of the year. Well, we're already at the end of the year, getting close to 2021. So I just want to thank everybody for Thank you for watching my videos. For those that I know we still live in the pandemic, so please be careful out there. If you guys decide to travel or around people, be around people and stuff like that. So, Merry Christmas. If I don't do another video next week, Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy New Year. And we don't know what 2021 is going to look like. But if we have Christ, we have hope. And that's what matters. Amen.
Amen.
So, you guys, once again,
Amen.
you guys, man. All right.
Yeah, man.
Peace.
Talk to you later.
All right, man. Awesome.